Welcome back, everybody, to round number 2. I am Dr. Leo, this time joined by the wonderful, dapper, bow tie wearing Cathor. How you doing, buddy? How's things going?
Thanks. I'm great. I'm really fired up for this event. I'm looking forward for like a few days now to watching these great players play some Legacy. And I
Oh, yeah.
was like following the first round. It was super intense on all sides.
Dude, we have a history here for our first round being very intense. Last time we had that amazing sneak and show mirror that honestly blew my mind watching. This time we had that nail bite of a match between Burn and Ninjas, but this time we have Burn and Elves. Tell me about this matchup.
So yes, I think that's one of the first time Tensai is not playing the mirror match in one of the bigger events. I
Mhm.
think Tensai on Elves might get a few problems if all of his like enablers are getting removed, and Frosty just has to see that she can get some creatures on board to have continuously something to pressure Tensai while she's removing his enablers from the board.
Yeah,
So I'm really looking forward to it because I'm expecting some great plays here.
importantly here, this is play draw decided because of seeding. We do have Tensai on the play here because of first seed. It is like I would hate to be on the draw versus Elves. I would hate to be on the draw versus Tensai wielding Elves because Tensai just tends to just be this unrelenting force of a Magic player, and it's great to see how this is going.
I'm looking for an intense match.
Yeah. I the premium German sense of humor coming in there.
Yes, but to be honest, you never want to be on the draw against Elves or Burn. So
Yeah, and we were talking about this in last round. I think that actually Elves would be the best deck in Legacy if Plague Engineer didn't exist.
yes, but now I have to check. Do we see any kind of fork bolts in Frosty's list? Do we have
No
some?
fork bolts.
So no 2-for-1 removals available.
Yeah, no
Okay.
2-for-1. It's honestly, this list is very streamlined. It's mostly four ofs. I think the most 2-for-1 you're gonna get is Bone Crusher Giant, and I have never seen a card be more live in a matchup than Bone Crusher Giant right now. Like honestly, Bone Crusher literally kills everything in this deck.
That's true, but so what are we seeing here? So notably, the last time in one of our bigger events, Tensai played Burn to all of our surprise in the mirror match against Astrid. I think this was the league playoffs,
The league playoff.
and
Yeah.
we saw a lot of fetch lands on Tensai's side. So no fetch lands on this Burn deck too.
Yeah, I like this. Just the straight, streamlined. Let me double check. I think it's only 18
N-
mountains or
19,
19.
I
Or
think.
19.
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't hate the 19th mountain because you're playing Sulfuric Vortex in the main board in this deck. You want to hit that 3 mana. So yeah, Digital Sloth. I think that Elves right now is just the best creature deck in Magic, and like it's just so fast. It's so efficient. And Allosaurus Shepherd just gave it this whole new access to kill with, as well as the fact that invalidating a handful of counter magic.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how effective Price of Progress will be in this match because usually getting 4 damage in for 2 mana is quite a good rate for legacy standards. But most of the like very often you have like 6 or 8 damage. But Elves has 3 forests available, and I don't think pre-sideboarding there's any need to fetch the Bayou. So it
Yeah.
just depends on what the 7 cards the players get.
Price of Progress does still trigger off of the Dryad Arbors because those are non-basic lands as well, and that's a major part of the Elves game plan is having the 1 to 2 Dryad Arbors.
That's true. But
Yeah.
also, like having the option to bounce your forests is not to be underestimated.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. It's one of those things that Frosty has yet to have a slam dunk Price of Progress matchup. This isn't the 4-color control matchup or like the Rug Delver matchup. And so because of that, we don't see this Price of Progress being as live again.
Yes, like in the last match, I'm pretty sure Frosty botted out those Price of Progresses, and like in the third match, we saw Evil just, I don't care about Price of Progress anymore. Probably she botted them out, but like you can play around that. So.
Oh yeah. Like, and that's the part that, when we were talking about it, Frosty has the edge here because of the fact that she understands burn. And as we saw in that game two, or that game one, when Price of Progress with literally the only non-basic on the board was a fetch land, but Frosty understood that 8 points of damage is a lot different than 9, especially when you have a creature on the board.
Oh.
And so because of that, she played the most intense game of her life with that. So I think it was, even though Price of Progress might not be the slam dunk it is, Frosty's going to find a way to use it in a way that I can't hate on.
So we're seeing right now Frosty's going down to 5. So being on the draw, like you still get to keep some card advantage, but going down to 5 against Elves, where you have to trade a lot of 1 versus 1, can be hard.
Yeah, and there's no recouping of advantage here. There's no way to like redraw stuff. That being said, I have seen one of our mods, Astrid. She's been working on a awesome punishing fire build of burn, and it looks sweet.
Okay, but do you replace the Price of Progress in the Punishing Fire list? Because
I think that's where the replacement is. It's
Okay.
because you want to be running Grove of the Burn Willows.
So then you are also not able to play any Sulfuric Vortex because, I mean, you want your opponents to gain some amount of life.
Yeah, exactly. So it does change how the deck plays fundamentally. But I mean, when you're playing a deck that has essentially between 4 to 8 copies of these 4 to 12 copies of the same card when you have
Oh.
just 3 damage burn effects for 1 mana, like you can't.
Okay.
You got to find some place to innovate there.
I think the players might be ready to go. Frosty's keeping her 5, 10 size on 7 cards. So let's see let's see what this Magic game looks like after shuffling for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's what we all missed. The shuffling part.
Okay, so this is a really cool part that I think that Elves has adapted very well is the one of Once Upon a Time, or the 2 of Once Upon a Time. I've seen it as a 3 and 4 of in the Newman Elves that run the Elvish Reclaimer. But I like it in Standard Elves as well because let's be real here, the land that matters the most is Gaia's Cradle.
That's true. I mean, you only have what is it, like 10 spells you cannot hit, or like 10 cards in the whole deck. You have 3 natural orders, 4 green suns, so 11 cards with a glimpse. And I think that's a pretty good rate. Like whatever you always find some amount of gas.
Yeah.
Okay, she found the cradle. We see Wooded Foothills.
So it looks like Tensai is going to deploy a 1 mana elf here. Sometimes you see elves player hold up fetch, so that way you can fetch on end step to get that Dryad Arbor to really power up the cradle. But I want to see what 1 mana elf is here. Like, which one would you rather have both?
Like a Nettle Sentinel is one of the big enablers in this
Yeah.
matchup. So if he hits the Heritage Druid and some amount of like card, well, the Nettle Sentinel is the engine that keeps you going.
Yeah, being able to untap all the time when you cast a spell to essentially almost generate infinite mana when you have a Heritage Druid out, it is one of the better engine pieces of the deck, as well as the fact that it trades off with the Goblin Guy, which is saying something.
That's true. Like we are seeing in our chat, press BOTW complimenting on the basics played. So that's one of the players who really appreciates a good amount of basics. Okay,
Yeah.
we see a Swift Spear from Frosty, so that's no damage on the first turn.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to bring up. This is huge. The fact that Frosty can get in for damage on turn 1 because play draw dependent, Nettle Sentinel is a 2/2, positively blocks the Swift Spear. There's no free spells here outside of Fire Blast. Yeah. Okay. So Tensai taking the aggressive route because knowing that it will untap. Oh, and here's Wirewood Symbiote. If you're talking about a lightning rod of a card, that's the number one lightning rod that you're looking for. Ooh,
Okay.
Collector. This does absolutely nothing in the deck, but like it's a 2/2.
It's a 2/2, and it's still. I mean, it's a clock, and I think it's so good in the main deck because you have access to Green Sun, Zenith, and Natural Order against some decks. But I think most of the time, if you use Natural Order, there are better threats to get.
I 100% think that this is a metagame call against ninjas. I think Tensai looked at the fact that there was going to be a high concentration of ninjas primary players here. And so because of that, just having a solid 2/2 body that essentially validates the retrofitter plan in game one is huge.
So I guess he has to take down the yes.
You
Because
have
you
to take down
don't
the
care.
symbiote.
You don't care about the oof, and this Nettle Sentinel is protected.
Yeah, and importantly here, when we talk about the bolt going towards the Wirewood symbiote, that's 3 damage that's not going to the face. You're happy when the burn player that's designed to hit you for 20 points it at your creatures because of the fact that it forces the burn player to play it in an awkward way.
Okay. Now the question to you: do you block? Do you want to keep the mana for Chaos Cradle, or do you want to keep your life totals up?
Your life total doesn't matter. Is going to be because this is turn 3 with elves. I think you want to go for just like a win. You want to be able to power out your cradle more so because this isn't a matchup that you're worried about your cradle being wastelanded or anything like that. It's ooh, those are really nice lands. But because of the fact that you have already like 2 creatures on the board, you really just need, I think it's 3 more plus a hoof, and you kill.
Okay, so no precast combat. So I guess we are seeing
Okay. Ooh,
natural order.
here's the natural order, like we were talking about here, and yeah, Frosty's scooping it up. Yeah, because collectors. So the 2 attacking creatures are both 2/2s. So because of the fact that shortens it down by 1 creature each. So yeah, that's natural order for hoof. Okay, that was a
How
fast
much damage?
one.
How much damage is it? It's like the hoof is 9/9, and then we have 2
9,
6/6s, so that's
2, 6,
21 damage alone.
it's 21. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
like Elves math is a special kind of math that you have to learn over a few weeks or
Yeah.
months or years.
And that's the thing. That's why Elves is just so powerful because it is a critical mass deck. It does the one thing that's designed to do. But it's so good because in these game ones, it's almost like a free win, like how Dredge has free wins. If you don't have a board wipe, if you don't have any sort of solid removal, it'll just murder you in game one.
Yes, I mean I also play some amount of critical mass decks, but they're just bad decks compared to Elves.
So
Like
we do have Frosty going on the play here for game 2. And for sideboard slots, we got 3 Searing Bloods, 4 Smash the Smithereens, 2 Ensnaring Bridges, 2 Surgical, 2 Leyline, 2 Fair Macabre. Who cares about those? What do you really like to bring you in here?
so, I think the Searing Bloods are easy adds, and you might like. I'm not an expert on this matchup, but I might consider the Ensnaring Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is, like, if Tensai gets the Allosaurus Shepherd, he can activate the Shepherd after attacking under the bridge. So,
I was just about to bring that up because if you go to the Ensnaring Bridge plan, your plan is to empty your hand as fast as possible. It has to be at 0 at all times. It's when you pass the turn. Otherwise, if you have 1 card in hand, the board of 1/1s can attack in, and Allosaurus Shepherd turns them all into 5/5s because of the fact that that card needs to be more busted.
so what do you cut? Do you cut something like Exquisite Firecraft because it's like 3 CMC, and you don't expect like
Yeah,
to have any counter magic on the other side?
I would not mind cutting probably I think Bone Crusher. I mean, it's 2 mana deal 2, which kills almost everything in this game. Like I think you can cut some number or a Bone Crusher, possibly even the Sulfuric Vortex, because it's not going to go that far. That being said, seeing that you might have the Leyline of sideboards, you might want to keep that for that. So let's talk about this sideboard. We got one Progenitus, which 100% coming in. 3 Leyline of the Vitality, 3 Leyline of 2 Pithing Needles, 3 Abrupt Decay, and 3 Thoughtseize. What do you like here?
Ley lines are like the ley line of vitality, not the ley line of the void. Maybe Progenitus, and then I would just keep the deck very straight. I might even cut the Bayou, because like, are you casting the ley line? No, like you don't need the black mana, and cut the Collector Oof, and what's the last card? Maybe some amount of Elves.
So it's so hard to cut anything in this deck because it's a critical mass. I know when it comes to when you sideboard in a Progenitus, you also sideboard in the one of Hoof. I sideboard out one of Hoof, so it's you have a 1-1 split. Our resident elf expert, also our streamer, Mike Diff, is letting us know to cut Once Upon a Time. So and also Collector Oof is a 100% cut as well. I think we can cut the 2 Once Upon a Times, maybe 1 Hoof, definitely the Collector Oof. That gives you 3 Ley Lines and a Progenitus easy, and you just hope that your opponent doesn't bring in the whatchamacallit, the bridge edge, and that you can play around that you Allosaurus Shepherd.
By the way, I think we forgot to bring up our bingo cards. So we have prepared some bingo cards. So like everyone can open up the link in the chat. You can get up the link by typing !bingo. And this way you can play a small round of bingo with nice cards fitting to our matchup with the top 8 players.
Yeah, join in. It's just another fun way to play along. Honestly, I'm guessing a couple of boards were checked off in that game 1 because that game 1 was intense. There was so much that happened.
So we are back to our players. We have Frosty keeping 7 cards. Tensai thinking.
If you're okay, you see your Snap keep 7 cards. What do you do?
Oh, no pregame action.
Oh,
So
okay. Also, I was gonna bring this up. I like the Swift Spear here on turn 1 because with Swift Spear, you know your opponent has to play a turn 1 something. That's just how the deck functions. So if you have a follow-up removal spell, you just go, okay, bolt your thing, go in for more damage.
like, I might even consider, like, if you have the Eidolon.
Oh, that's dirty.
Mm,
Oh, that's Searing Blood. Oh, that's a swing for 5 and 1 turn. Oh,
that's what we are coming here for. That's what Bird is doing. That's what you have to be prepared for.
oh, that was brutal. That was probably the best Searing Blood I've seen all day, and yeah, that's huge. Yeah, Burn doing burn things. Burn cards go burr.
But
But
at the same time, in Tensai's place, if you are not having the ley line in your hand, like, it's not like a ley line of the void that you need to have to win the matchup. So if you have a good elf hand, you keep that any day over a ley line hand. So
yeah, there was no ley line this round, Chaotic Bear. Yeah. Oh, Heritage Druid. Okay. Oh, okay. Got a little bit of static coming in. Looks like it was just Heritage Druid pass. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. We're gonna stop the players. Okay. Nope. We got the feedback. Okay, we're good. So, Bone Crusher Giant, still good card. Who was saying Bone Crusher Giant was dead in this matchup?
I don't know. Like, you should just kick them out. For they should never play Legacy again, probably.
So this is an attack for 2, and we're already seeing Tensai down to 12, and that's a suspended Riftbolt. So that means that on the next upkeep, that Monastery Mentor is going to be attacking for 2 at the minimal, and you're deploying any one of your creatures into a known Riftbolt.
And then you still have the mana left to cast your Bone Crusher Giant, up the clock significantly,
Yeah.
Oh, Tensai is just passing the turn. Like
Well,
he might want to win in a single turn. I don't know how he's going to do it, but
so the trick is, and what Tensai is going for, is that energy fetch for Dryad Arbor. But once again, we see here Tensai is now at the important interval of 3 damage, and this Swift Spear is coming across for 3. Tensai is going down to 3 on this turn.
he can
Oh,
block with the Dryad Arbor.
I mean, you're kind of priced into, but do you want to block with the Dryad Arbor and turn off your Cradle?
Like if he gets the Dryad Arbor, he might as well be dead to Price of Progress. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
We're see. Oh, this Goblin Guide's good stuff.
That's an attack for 5.
That's an attack for 5. This is insane. And with the fetch, this is going down 5. So Dryad Arbor is priced into blocking. Ooh, are we gonna see an Abrupt Decay?
I think so.
Probably an Abrupt Decay. Because
Who said you can cut the Bayou because it's too slow for Abrupt Decay? Like,
well,
fire the guy out of him.
well, Abrupt Decay is definitely a play here, but like against Burn, you just gotta go so fast. Like, yeah, this is not the worst. So, Tensai going down to an interval of 3. So that's already a bad place to be because every single burn spell is live. But Tensai has an Elvish Visionary. That's something.
I mean, like 70% of Frosty Stack might just kill Tensai next turn. So that's... Oh.
Ooh, I mean, fetching down to 2 is no different. Oh wait, actually, fetching down to 2 matters in this matchup because of Bone Crusher Giant.
Bone Crusher Giant also... like, if there's an Eidolon, that's...
If Bone Crusher Giant gets in for the last 2 points of burn, we are never cutting that card ever again. Oh, Twin Down, Twin Dom. Thank you for letting us know about that. That's a brilliant thing that we didn't think about. Abrupt Decay is for the Eidolon, because if you don't do that, that will kill you. That makes so much sense. And like I didn't think about that play. God, Eidolon is so good.
I mean, you can still cast Natural Order. You don't need to combo out.
Yeah, but comboing of when you're casting your little 1 dorks, you're gonna just die before you can hit the natural order count. Otherwise, you have to just play super slow. So importantly here, Tensai is drawing 2 cards, but the last mana source up is a Cradle. So because of that, I don't think Tensai can win here. If because it already made the land draw for the turn.
Like, if you want to go off, I don't think that you are able to play the Glimpse first.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I'm not an expert on Elves magic. Elves math.
Elves Math is hard, dude. And like worst case scenario, Frosty has a 4/3 that she can play. Okay, so we got Goblin Guy trigger. Elvish Visionary hops in the way. Plays Bone Crusher Giant. And last card in hand, I gotta think it's a land. I gotta think it's a land. Because anything else would have been fired off immediately.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's got to be a land in hand, and Tensai has to know it's a land in hand. So Tensai has this 1 turn with a Heritage Druid to go off, and if we can see this, it's possible. It's not theoretically impossible. It's just very hard.
Like, I like how he like look at this matchup between those like classic legacy staple decks, and it can go either way if there's some amount of Elf Storm going on now.
Oh yeah. This can go completely either way, and it honestly does start with this Quirion Ranger. A Quirion Ranger and like a solid like if there's a Nettle Sentinel or like Tensai needs one more elf to absolutely to just make this build go off. Yeah, Chaotic Bear. Yeah, it'd be extremely difficult because it would require a hoof, and it would require a hoof with enough of a board that 2 creatures kills. So you need at least 9 other creatures.
No, I think it's
Oh wait,
7.
seven. Sorry, 7 other creatures.
7. Yeah, you have a 1/1 that's an 8/8, and Hoof gets a 12. Yeah, that's elf math for you.
Yeah, ask me about T cell formation, not simple mental math. Yeah, but yeah, it also has to kill through a 4/3. So you have to get up that trample count. So it's just so hard here. And even if you had an abrupt decay to try and go and to kill that Bone Crusher Giant, that Bone Crusher Giant trigger is going to kill you.
That's true. Like, you think this like small part of the text is not relevant, but sometimes that's just what's going to kill you.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's killed me before. I was playing against Lampfan back in the day. He was a big player for this blue-red control deck, and it was using adventure cards like Bone Crusher Giant, stuff like that. I was like, okay, abrupt decay your Bone Crusher Giant. Cool, you're dead. I'm like, oh, there's more text on that card, and yeah, it felt real bad.
That's how it is. Like, I mean, the Eldraine power level was like good enough that you see it in Legacy everywhere. Like Bone Crusher Giant is a kind of stable in the Red Stompy decks. Like it's going into the Delver list as a 1 or 2 of right now, because against most cards it's a 2-for-1 because you remove like most of your threats, the things that are annoying to you, and then you still have a threat. What else? You have Raisin Borrower is right up the alley, like removing something, killing tokens since 2019.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to point this out. Natural order for Dread Arbor. Get Progenitus. Okay. Well, I want to know why Tensai Green Suns for 1 and found a Dryad Arbor. Like
Like
Tensai could have 1 extra mana here.
that's
Greater
true.
Hoof. Is
I
this?
mean, it's a great blocker. It's not only a finisher, so who knows? Maybe he has the second hoof on board. Like you can block Bone Crusher, but you still need to dodge the card force he has in the hand.
No, Prez. He played. He paid green in a 1 for the Green Suns. At least, yeah, and it looks like it's a pass. So we do have some updates for our other games. Cliff versus Quirios still in game 1.
Oh,
Champagne. Oh, yep, that's GG's. That's GG's. Yep, like we just said, 70% of the deck just kills right here. So it's like, well, you're playing for borrowed time. So we also have Champagne versus Charbowl. They are in game 2. It looks like it's up Champagne 1 game. And then we have Evil versus Clarostorix. Evil is up a game 1-0 in that as well.
So, like, who would have thought that the burn match is already going to game 3 when all the others are still in game 2 or game 1?
Yeah.
Like, how shocking.
There, that first game was all of 3 turns between 2 players. Like, it was fast. Yeah. So instant, yeah, exactly, Prez. Instant sorcery deals lethal damage. But yeah, like when we talk about these other games though, Cliff versus Quirios, when we look at that, we got Cliff is on Rug Delver and Quirios is on Force. Like, I think Delver is just inherently favorite matchup.
I think so. I mean, it's a good deck, or like many people say, the best deck in Legacy currently, because you see it like it's played a lot online. You see a few players playing it here because online is the people just play what they want to play to win because there's an economy behind it.
Yes.
If people play with paper cards, they play what they have and what they like and what they love. So there's a lot of more passion behind people brewing their own decks, or like just playing decks because they played them for 10 years, 15 years maybe, and having a history with the decks. So still, Wagdava is a force to be reckoned with, even without Dreadhorde, Arcanist, or Oko. It's still a tough deck to beat.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's when Rug Delver, there's all the flavors of Delver, blue, red, Grixis, Rug, all that sort of stuff. This is the blue red version with a little bit of green there. It's got that little G for like things like Clothis, sideboard, and stuff like that. So playing that aggressive, like almost burn style that is blue red Delver, and then just being able to sideboard in like Sylvan Library Clothis feels really good. Um, but when we're
Looking at Queers, like he seems to be still to be well prepared with a lot of Baleful Strix, Snapcaster Mages. Teferi Time Reveler is something that you never want to see on your opponent's side if you're playing
Kaya
a permission-based deck.
Kaya Orzhov Usurper as well in the main deck that can also just down tick and kill a Delver. Exile Delver.
Yes.
Things like Hull Breacher just shut down cantrips. I loved the two of Cling to Dust in the deck just because of the fact that you're not really using your yard for anything else, so you can just like grind out nonstop, just card advantage with a card. Like it
So,
seems like Quirios getting prepared for that matchup.
talking to Evil after the deck lists were published for everyone, like he was really sad that he cut the Singleton Cling to Dust from the sideboard after he knew that he was going to play against Frosty on Burn, because he wanted to be prepared against these graveyard decks. He thought Cliff will be playing Dredge, Tensai might be playing Cephalid Breakfast, so you need those surgicals. And I think we don't have a single deck where you need a single surgical, so...
Yeah, there's not a single one. If you're a discard based deck, I could see like, hey, I would bring in what's it called? I would bring in surgicals against Elves because I was specifically playing Cabal Therapy decks. So I would be naming Natural Order or like Heritage Druid or something like that, an important combo piece, and then I'd go for the surgical on that because I needed all the advantage I could get. But if you're talking about like surgical as a graveyard hate piece, like you're not bringing in anything. Like I think the closest matchup that you're gonna have is honestly going to be a Lurin just to hit those Uros.
Thank you, Dazed MTG, for the follower, for following us now. I think the players are ready, and we can see some magic action again. Game 3, it's 1-on-1, Elves versus Burn,
Dude,
and the Elves players on the play.
this is where Tensai wants to be in game 3 because being on the play for game 3 is just so important in these decisive fast matchups. I think Frosty is taking that in consideration with the her hand. And Q Catcher Catcher Cherry Pip, thank you for the follow. But I think Frosty has to find, because on game 2 you can find a hand with like really fast doors and lethal damage. In this hand, you need to find something that's reactive.
Like, I think the best kind of hand that you have, like, you don't want to have a turn 1 creature because you have to remove something turn 1. So maybe a Lightning Bolt into Eidolon, because Eidolon is the best card that you can get here.
Yeah, I would love to see Lightning Bolt into Eidolon. If we're talking about like the perfect curve out for Frosty. Now for Tensai, I would like to see either a turn 1 Nettle Sentinel or a turn 1 Allosaur Shepherd. Something that like is mysteriously threatening and that you need to remove super fast, but like at the same time, like not an important integral piece like a Wirewood Symbiote or a Heritage Druid or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, and a Green Suns for 0. Okay. That's also a really solid one.
Yes. So Tensai knows it can be cast for a single mana.
Tensai knows. Oh, that's the thing. Like, Tensai has got it. Like, you put any deck in Tensai's hand, and probably Tensai will do really well with it.
Like Tensai is not a good like player with a deck. He's just a good player.
Yeah, and here we go. We see the chain lightning here, and importantly, both players kept on 7.
Yes, that's what we want to see. Like not a mulligan to 5, mulligan to 4.
No.
We want to see what the players are doing with their hands and how this plays out.
Yeah, so Dazed MTG, you can either hit exclamation point deck list, or you can check out our cardboard live list. So Tensai here going for that Bayou. Okay.
You have to be prepared for the Eidolon, so the Abrupt Decay might be in the hand, but
Yeah.
this also means those Price of Progresses, they are kind of online. If a Cradle comes down.
Quisty, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. And I want to give a special shout out to all 84 chat. Thank you for coming out and hanging out with us for Invitational. It's a really big day for all of us. And
That's
here
what we
it is.
want to see.
There it is. There's the Eidolon. Oh, that is brutal. And with the board mostly controlled, that was probably the best 2 series of plays that Frosty could have made.
Yes.
Like, oof.
Match is halfway over. Fire Blast, Tensai, GG. Eidolon will do the rest.
Does Tensai have the Abrupt Decay, though? That's the important card. And
Kill a creature, shock yourself. Oh, it does not look like it.
Oh, there's no decay. Oh, that's 2 damage. All right, we're down to 17. Oh, Tensai's going for it. Tensai's just owning it. Tensai's gonna, I'm going to take it 4 to the face. Don't care. I'm going to kill you.
Off note, Natural Order does not trigger the Eidolon.
Yeah,
so
that's the one thing is luckily Natural Order doesn't trigger. Okay, so we got 3. So we got 7 mana. And oh wait,
that's 6 now.
6 mana in total. All right, Natural Order. This does not trigger. If I'm Tensai here, I'm going for Progenitus. Is your clock faster than turn 2 clock?
Okay. Now you have to do some thinking because, like, if you are casting the Natural Order, you have to untap the Visionary before casting the spell because, yes.
Yeah. So I think, so I think Tensai's just going straight for the Progenitus kill there, like understanding that the Eidolon is going to stop out the Essential Creature Storm and going for the I'm going to beat you twice. I need 2 combat steps. Now Frosty has the clock. Frosty understands that she has 2 combat steps and attacking is out of the order. So what do you do here? 15 points of damage, 2 turns. Can you do it?
I think this turn you might just wait. And like the thing is, the Eidolon does not matter for Frosty at all, as long as she's not casting 5 spells, because she's on a 2-turn clock. If she's at 12 life or at 20, it's still a 2-turn clock at least. If Tensai's not attacking with the rest of the creatures,
Yeah.
So she has some free spells to cast.
Yeah, there. It's so so close here. The fact that the Eidolon is also going to hit. Okay, so we got Goblin Guide here. Goblin Guide. Okay, down to 14. Goblin Guide.
The Goblin Gang.
Woo! Oh man, 3 goblins in a trench coat and going all in. Going all in. Frosty is not afraid of your noodle.
Shoot. That's the Goblin train. Do you think there will be like a 3CMC Goblin that's 3 Goblin Guides, like the Lanova clan?
The Llanowar tribe. 3
Yeah.
Llanowar elves in a trench coat. Oh, we need that. We need that. 3 red, 6/6 attack that your opponent ancestral recalls.
Okay. So, okay, we see Windswept Heath off from one of the Goblin Guide triggers. The Eidolon is dead. And Tensai is going down to, like, he's taking 6 damage. So he's going down to 9, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah, 9. And I think Frosty's only at 1 card in hand, maybe 2. Oh my gosh. That's a way to go. Oh, you're down to 15, so there is the possibility, though. There is the possibility that a small hoof can steal this. Like if you hardcast hoof right now, it steals the entire game.
You just need a like natural order hoof is still enough. You have a land in hand
Yep.
and one more elf.
But that being said, I think Tensai is just on the plan of like I'm gonna hit you twice and pray. Because I think these other two dorks are just on chump blocking duty. Yeah, we see hey, Nettle Sentinel.
Do you play out the land?
No, you don't, because that kills you for price of progress.
I mean, he can still. He has a Queen Ranger now, so he can return the Bayou.
Yeah.
So that's 2 damage of the price only.
Okay, that's 2 mana that's getting tapped real quick. Importantly here, Searing Blood, Fire Blast, and attack. Oh wait, no. Searing Blood. Okay, yeah, get in and just get in for damage. Get in with the knuckleheads first. So Dried Arbor to hand. Or it's the other 2 triggers. Gaia's Cradle to hand.
Casually drawing 2 cards.
All right. Well, this
Oh.
Ancestral Recall. We just hit an Ancestral Recall for nothing. Busted. So looks like all 3 are being blocked. Yeah, those Heritage Druids are gonna die, and you have to block all.
You have to
can't
block
let-
everything. You don't want to.
Yeah, we got Price of Progress. That's 4 points of damage. That's down to 5. Bolt and Fire Blast does it. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow, that was close. Oh, I think Tensai is showing how his hands are shaking.
Oh yes, that was nice magic.
That was so close. Like honestly, every single part of that game was so close. Just a nail biter the entire time. And oh my gosh, like I don't know if I could call it any other way. Like it was every single player had a moment there that they could have taken that entire third game.
Yeah, like 100%. That's what I think. So this is why we have like the extra tension in these invitational matches, because we have great players. We don't see many punts, so that's what I'm here for. So
yeah.
we have Tensai proceeding to our quarterfinal, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
So Champagne, small update, won 2-0 against Alun on like
Terrible.
Charbel on Alun, yes.
Yeah,
And
and that means that Trouble is knocked out. Oh, so there goes the chance for the second invitational win. GG's Charble. Like, hey, there's always next season, homie. Like, good job today. Like, we're honestly so impressed with how far you've come. So, way to go, Charble. We'll see you for the next invitational.
so I think we might hop over to one of our other tables, probably to Cliff and Quirios, because the 4-color control matchup might be not one of the fastest, so we have some nice viewing pleasure over there.
Yeah, and honestly, hey, if we can get, let's see, Evil is they're on about to be on game 3 versus Claro. I like that matchup. That sounds fun. Is some ninjas versus some Esper Mentor. But chat, what do you want to see? We got ninjas versus Esper Mentor and Rug Delver versus 4-color control.
So
Okay. Cliff matchup all day. Control matchup. Ninjas versus matchup. All right.
Oh, our streamer has spoken. Thank you, White Knight 108. So it looks like we are watching the Rug Delver versus 4-color control matchup.
Yeah, so this is game 2. Yeah, we got Cliff. So it looks like that Pyroblast was just aimed at the fairy. Honestly, like where you kind of want to be. You turning off your dazes feels bad, and that's an abrade for the
Oh.
the whale. Oh, this card is great. I love this card. So those that have not seen Ethereal Force, this card has been some pretty hot tech lately in Legacy. What is? Let me pull it up real quick. I'm pulling up deck list now.
Okay, so while we have some like jitter on Cliff's side of the board, with a, it might be back in a second. We see Swords to Plowshares from Curious side, followed by
Oh, K Command.
K Command getting back Snapcaster Mage.
And honestly, this is when we talk about like OG, like let's bring it back to Grixis Control circa like 2015, 2016. Those K command loops to get back Snapcaster Mage is so good. And ooh, okay. Hey, that's a Sprite Dragon getting in for one. And if our life totals are accurate, I think Quirios might be at
No. Curious should be at 13 if I'm not mistaken. So we will get an update very soon. So
yeah.
I guess Curious should be at 12 live now after attacking with a.
It's splashing white. So to end up, that is splashing white. Swords of Plowshares, which don't hate. Hey, also Kaya Orzhov Usurper, two Teferi, hey, Time Raveler, one Monastery main. Of course, got the full discard suite, and really interesting. I like this play here. A Savi Triome, which is the Mardu Triome that taps for red, black, and white. I like it. It's not bad.
Like, if you're going to the late game, Curious has a lot of 2-for-1 potential. He has the hymns, he has the code against command. The Teferi Time Raveler is, I mean, he always replaces himself, so that's a nice upside. If he eats an Pyroblast, that's just value. You have the Cling to Dust to gain some life against the Delvers, Baleful Strix to block, Hull Breacher to just be a blowout against an end step Brainstorm. So we've seen a lot of cards in the graveyards. I think there's a Clothis in Exile and a Clothis in the graveyard. So this is one of the cards the players were fighting hard about, because against these slow clocks, it's a real problem for the control player, where you just have to take control on the stack because you cannot remove an indestructible enchantment. If I'm looking at the list, there's nothing, I guess.
Yeah. Mox Human, thank you for the follow. And thanks for the other day, dude. Like we had a really fun time playing against Welder. Welder. It was a super fun time.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
That looks like it was a draw step snappy K command. And don't hate that because you need something on the board here. The fact that you're gonna K command is almost always a 2-for-1.
yes.
And it's one of those things that you see the power of it being able to rebuy things, baleful strikes, stuff like that. It's super good. I need to
And
play
with
some K command.
a Snapcaster, it's easily a 3-for-1 or 4-for-1. If you flashback the K command with the Snapcaster next turn, that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, the fact that you could draw step discard somebody once you already have their hand control is massive. I need to get some K commands, and I'm adding K commands to my shopping list right now. I don't own any.
Like, but you have to wait
Oh,
a second until after the game, because we are seeing some like 17 turn clocks on the board with the Baleful Strix. That's how we get some real viewing value here from our players.
yeah. That is honestly. So when we talk about like control in a modern age, we just got done with this stage of like 5-color, 4-color snow goat piles as like the premier control deck. And now, like, we're back seeing the Shard decks, Grixis Control, Blue White, as well as like Espers, even there. I would even say Esper Mentor is definitely can have like a control shell. Where do you think control is going to be at now that we're looking at 2021?
So, small interjection. So we have a Snapcaster Mage, a Brainstorm, followed by a Ponder. So Curious is getting back his value, increasing his clock. But I think that control is in a... Like, you don't see much control online right now, because there's a lot of delve around, and fast combo decks like Oops, Elves, and what else do we have? Maybe some Storm decks, which are hard to get by with a classic control shell. So you have very experienced players going still with 60 to 70% win rate, but control takes a lot out of you, and you don't have easy games. So what do we see here? Is this a new card?
Yeah. So this is the new one. I was just about expressive iteration, and where is it? I'm pulling it up. Expressive iteration. A blue and a red. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand. Put one of them on the bottom of your library and exile one of them. You may play the exile card this turn.
So if you're doing it right, it's basically a pay to draw 2.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing it right, it's a pay 2 draw 2. But what's also really crazy with this is the fact that like it does clear up this brainstorm, like we just saw. Cliff brainstormed very few cards in hand, kept one of them. Was this cleared off the top card of the library without having to use a fetch land? So Cliff is drawing live to the very next card. Yeah, right, Rax. It's some good stuff. I like it. I have seen like some people talk about this, but to see it in a Delver shell is actually kind of impressive.
So small word from one of our streamers here. The like video issues on Cliff side seem to be on the OBS side, because our table spotter is watching directly over OBS, and this seems to be fine. So I'm sorry for the small hiccup with a glare, but
Okay, good to hear. Yeah, we want to make sure to present to you all the best feed possible and such like that. But the fact that we see once again Swords of Plowshares invalidating, and oh, that's good stuff. Oh, that's a good fork bolt.
ooh.
Yeah,
What?
that was a good fork bolt. That was a solid 2 for 1.
I mean, the control deck is not the only deck that's capable of doing the 2-for-1s, but Cliff had this expressive iteration is the name. That's a 2-for-1. Then we have the Forkbolt. That's a 2-for-1. So we are seeing some great value play.
Yeah.
Life's total slowly moving, but still at a steady 11 to 14. This match can go either way.
Yeah, I honestly really like how the blue red shell, the shell of blue red Delver, has gone to this tiny little G. Hey, that's a oh, do we got a bingo? Oliver, you got a bingo? Is Oliver our first bingo card champ? Oh, 3 fairy. So I mean, it's got to resolve, but it's just gonna invalidate every single card on top of his deck if it's a spell.
Okay, nice point there, Bolic Band. Fork bolting a Snapcast and a Strix that both are replacing themselves is not really a 2-for-1.
Okay, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there.
You take all the chances that you're getting.
Players hellbent. Free player sacrifices 2 or more creatures 1 turn. Retrofit foundation. Scarce game card is cast. Boom! Bingo! Congratulations, Oliver, being our first winner of the bingo card. Get your bingo card! Exclamation point bingo in the chat. Thank you, Prez. So I think that's an important point to bring up. Yeah, it is. It's not really a 2-for-1 because every single one of those cards replaces itself. But importantly, it just gets the clock off. And this is going to come down to who land and stick a clock.
Okay. So Oliver, congratulations on winning the bingo game. So you are now the first player winning, which allows you to select the next door prize that you will presenting on the next league. No, I'm just kidding. Just thank you for doing the door prize last league. By the way, players, we are still open for registration for our monthly league. The registration closes on Tuesday, so you still have fine 3 days to register. We are currently at around 90 players. Let me take a short look. 88 players registered. Last month we had 112.
Yeah, we our leagues are probably like the biggest, our biggest event. They're super popular with the player base, as well as the fact that most players are just like it's a semi-competitive environment. You're not locked into a single deck list. You can play how whatever deck you want. It really does encourage players to innovate during the league season. And then once again, we come to a top 8 where it's a small deck list, open deck list, and just trying to jam games. And ooh,
Brazen Bow or Hardcast? No
I don't mind
bouncing
this.
Teferi.
I don't mind this. Oh, but invalidated because of another Strix. Man, and Cliff cannot catch a break here. Every single card that Quirios has drawn has been a live draw, and it's brutal. Like Quirios is now cleared off that brainstorm. We're no longer brainstorm locked, and ooh, like Cliff's in a rough place here. You're not even within easy bolt range.
I think Krios is still he was at 3 cards in hand starting the turn, and Kaya, that's
Okay, so I not only love Kaya here because you can accurately defend it. It takes up to 4, so it survives a bolt. It can't be pyroblasted or red blasted, and now you can hit one of the creatures and an instant or sorcery in there and keep it so that any top deck whales are no longer useful.
also of a note. If you get Kaya up to 5, Cliff used the whale to exile a bunch of cards, so I guess that's lethal just by Kaya. This is at least 6 cards in the exile now, possibly 7 or 8. And just staying on defense, Cliff has to be the one who presents an answer to the spot state.
Yes, 100%. So Kaya Orzhov Usurper, +1, exile the 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life if at least one of those cards was a creature. -1, exile target non-land permanent with Grimoire cost 1 or less. So that means that even Delvers aren't viable. Okay. Pyroblast to get rid of the blocker and get in for 3. Because Kaya Ultimates on a -5, where it deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life.
Okay, Swords to Plowshares on the off note. That's 1 more damage with the Kaya. So,
that's 1 more damage.
Yes. So, I mean, he gains 3 life, but I think that's not the first Swords we've seen here. So
yeah. Oh, and fetching the Triome. That's a legitimate thing here. Yeah, I think if Cliff does not find a what's it called? Oh, a way to deal with this threat, I think Kaya's gonna win this game.
that's I'm with you there. So those planeswalkers are the progressive value you don't want to see as the Rockdelver player. That's why you need those clothes triggers in the upkeep. Oh, I think there's one way to get rid of the clothes by bouncing it with Teferi.
Yeah, and I think Cliff realizes the writing on the wall here and needs going to game 3. So that Kaya top deck, that was everything. Kaya just won that entire game. And once again, I say this card, you have to respect it in Legacy.
I love it. In the beginning, Kaya was really, really cheap, and at one point the people in Modern and Legacy found out it looks like it's not doing much, but a lot of decks play a lot of 1-drops, which is really good, and also 0-drops with all the Moxen, Chromox, LED. What do we have?
Yeah,
Mox Opal,
Mox
all
Opal.
the Elves, and the tribal decks. So you always find someone with Kaya. and then she's just giving you some staying power against good decks, removing cards for Brain Snapcaster targets or Mystic Sanctuary. So I love to see Kaya in Legacy.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the sideboard option here. So we already saw the Clothis come in, or Cliff, but we also got 2 Abrades, 1 Snapcast, Snapcaster Mage, Grafdigger's Cage, which shuts down Snapcaster Mage, 2 Hull Breacher, 3 Pyroblast, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Clothis, 1 Sylvan Library, 2 Surgical, and 1 Fluster. What do you like here?
So I'm pretty sure we've seen the Clothis. Flusterstorm is a great card. The Pyroblasts are on side. We've seen most of them. We have seen the Braid because I guess you bought out most of your permission. Like Force of Will is not something that you want to see here. Dazes is not the best thing in the slow match. So, and maybe the Hellbreacher, because it has to be answered, otherwise Krios is not doing much. That's how it goes.
I like. There's a lot of play here that I really like, and It seems like this sideboard is very tuned, but the thing is, I'm looking here at 3 Pyroblasts, still doesn't do shit against Kaya. Like I'm saying, the fact that it can't be blasted or anything like that, and it takes him up immediately outside of bolt range is going to be big in this matchup.
Yes. I don't like the Grafdigger's Cage because you have seen the Kolaghan's command. You have won the sideboard, won the main deck, so it will be just swept away on the side. Like Kolaghan's command, Snapcaster, Kolaghan's command. I don't think it's worth the spot. You want to be progressive here. You are on the play. You are the aggressive Delver deck. You want to like establish your board state and be the clock. There's no control play going there if it's going well for you.
Yeah, so honestly, the fact that like K command just so clearly answers as Grafting Cage, I think that might be a value not bring it in. But it does force the use of that on there. But I don't know. I think you have some live plays with Bone Crusher Giant, but like I think it might be even an easy side out in this matchup. Though I do love the 1 Sylvan Library in this sideboard. I think Sylvan Library is going to be the card you want to slam and defend.
Wait a second. Where's the Sylvan Library on Quirio's side?
No, in Rug Delver sideboard. Rug Delver sideboard.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that's true. That's something that you want to see. I was already on the 4-color control match. So I think the Plague Engineers are needed, Pyroblasts are needed. We have a Vanishing Verse, which might be okay, but you see a lot of multicolor threats from Cliff's side. And another Kolaghan's command. Do you bring in Liliana of the Last Hope?
That's what I was about to bring up. I think you still do bring Lily Last Hope. I think she's a great play here. She grinds very well. And once again, it's a threat that takes over the board. And so because of that, like I think it's solid. Like you have cuts like Opposition Agent, it dies the bolt. What are you doing here? You're just shutting down their fetch lands. Like for the most minor thing, like I do like cutting that. You could definitely go down things even like a Thoughtseize because you have enough discard just like late into the deck, as well as the fact that like there are just solid bring-ins here. Like I always like bringing in a second Fatal Push against Delver based decks just to hit their threats, as well as the fact that there's enough live threats that Vanishing First might be worth it, but we're not on a. It only really hits the Delvers because we're not on like a Tarmogoyf. Yeah, so we are seeing a player start here, and we are seeing Cliff was on the play, and no turn 1 Delver, just turn 1 Volcanic Island Pass. So Scoreful Egotist, I think it's because this is a control deck. It's just a finisher.
Also, you just want to like you find like it's not a mentor deck that has a lot of aggressive potential where you play baubles, and most of the mentor decks are like tuned to be less on the 2-for-1 side where you generate value, but be more on the aggressive side with unearths and I don't know, like same amount of snapcasters, but still just massing out those tokens. That's not what Queerus wants to do. Queerus wants to make us be on stream for a few hours.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly. Curry always wants to grind. So I do like this play that Cliff did. I was a little bit confused by the aggressive pyroblasting of Ponder, which like it's understandable when you look at the next play, which is Wasteland Pass, because you're hoping that Wasteland and the stopping of the Ponder, you're hoping that your opponent was counting on that. Ooh, okay, so we did get an update. You want to bring this in, Cathar?
Sure, let's take a look. So we have Evil and Claustorics in game 3, both 1-1. So we will, if this game is going fast, we might have to watch a nice ninja game.
Oh yeah, and I mean you can't complain about that because ninjas is just fun to watch. But this sprite dragon is huge, especially if Cliff has a daze. Okay, we are seeing a fatal push. Is that? Oh, it's a main phase push. Okay.
Okay, passes the turn.
Importantly here is he on stifles? I'm only seeing 3 days. No stifles. So this is a stifleless. Oh, turn 3. I like this. You could make a land drop.
And cast the cantrip on Delver.
That's not the worst. That's honestly, like this card could see some play, and also it doesn't hit things like put one of them into your hand, so it doesn't trigger off of things like Leovold or Narset or Hull Breacher, which stops you from drawing because it just puts it into your hand. It's not too bad.
Okay. Cliff just passing here, keeping up, or keeping 4 cards in hand. Curious also just draw, land, go.
Well, that's the thing. Quirios doesn't have to be the aggressor here. This is Quirios is playing draw go base control, and it's not the worst play because Cliff doesn't have a threat. There's nothing solid there. Cliff is just trying to still just keep on going and hoping to slam a threat. Ooh, here's the whale. So getting back expressive iteration and
2 lands.
Pyroblast.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you prefer to take away the dragon because that's Kaya fodder? Do you have any upside by keeping the dragon in your graveyard?
Oh, I would 100% delve the delve the dragon as well, just to keep it from your opponent drawing gaining life off of it. But at the same time, I'm like you're just adding more cards to the Kai account, and also Scornful Egotist. Good but great punt. Oh, I love it, but I don't want to give you validation.
Okay, Curious in response, casting Brainstorm, puts 2 cards back. So there's no end step. There's no force. I think are there any forces left? Do we expect it? I don't think so.
Maybe because there are just a to resolve in this matchup that you need to stop that it might not be the worst. You are the control deck, though it wouldn't surprise me if some number had gone down. Importantly here, though, when we talk about possible removal spells, Drown the Lock stock goes down so much when you play against Delve threats.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that Drown the Lock is not good with 2 whales in the deck that keeps you really low. And also having the Kaya to remove the cards from the yard. So now we're seeing the Triumph again, playing a Flooded Strand. I think Curious has all the colors he ever needs. And he's kind of wasteland proof. And there's the basic planes, all colors assembled. Tron assembled, control Tron assembled here.
Yeah, I am impressed by the amount of basic in this deck, being a 4 color deck. Like, seeing that you can fetch Island, Swamp, Plain in a control deck is kind of impressive.
there's Teferi, and it bounces the Forager. That's rough.
Ooh, that's real rough because those cards do not come back. They are just permanently exiled. So this is the thing that you talk about, like with Delve threats, though. They feel so bad when they get bounced to hand.
That's really... I mean, that's the power of Teferi. That's one of our new fire design cards that we love and enjoy. But you have to respect it. Do we see a
Oh,
bolt?
if you're seeing it, you got to see it now. Otherwise, this Teferi is just going to take over the game. Validate your dazes, your force of will, stuff like that, and we're
mean,
gonna blast.
Do you even keep Daze and Force of Will? I don't think so.
On the play, I would keep days. On the draw, I would not. But I'm agreeing with 6/5 on this one. I would aggressively cut force of will and force negation, and if I was on the control side, just rely on your 2-for-1s in the form of Kulgan's command, your baleful strix that block. But but I think, to be fair though, there's one card that really matters out of the sideboard, and that's Clothis. Clothis can just win the game by itself.
Yes, but like Curious is still at a healthy 16 life. So he plays his Delta 4 mana open, just passing the turn, and like he's under no pressure right now. That's not the spot where you want to be as a like aggressive rock deck.
Oh yeah. And Oliver, I'm fully in agreement with you. Force Will is a bad card. One of the worst cards. Oh, Brazen Borrower, but immediately met with a black effect. Just like, nope, we're not playing this game. You don't get a threat.
That's also Brazen Borers. Like the bounce effect is usually very good, but everything we see from Curious, like you don't want to bounce because it generates value the time it hits the board.
Exactly. And this looks just like a straight bolt to the face.
Like
This is just
you want to cast your veil, so you want to get the value.
okay. That's fine. You can bolt me. I'll just invalidate and gain 3 life. So Querio stays at the exact same life total.
I think just like taking the Fire Blast instead, drawing a card, cycling for yourself, and preventing Cliff to take this under the veil might also not be bad. But at the same time, maybe Curious just has the answer in his hand.
Yeah, and I was about to say, like, really importantly here, choosing to hit the creature in the board to gain 3 life and invalidate the bolt, does very much like, you give 1 extra card here. If you had chosen to draw a card, but okay, that's snappy. A Pyroblast. You get nothing. Oh, and we have an update for our last game. Claristorx beats Evil 2-1. Oh, wow. So Evil is unfortunately out of the tournament as well. That's his second loss. And honestly, Evil put up a hell of a fight, dude. That game 1 was awesome. That match 1 was awesome. Like,
I really like to watch that game.
yeah. And you made it this far, Evil. Like, thank you so much for coming out here and representing the ninjas.
Yes. When the ninja players don't represent the ninjas, we got to have somebody else.
Yeah. And looks like... Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say on the upside, we have another viewer now in this stream because now we can have Evil following us along over here. You gotta see the bright side on everything.
Yes. And
half cast
welcome.
days.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't hate this. Forcing the days on the Snapcaster Mage. Gains 3 to 18. Wait, so Cliff so no, he dazed, and I think did he pass the turn? Oh, did he pay for it?
I think it
Oh,
was end step.
okay, that makes sense.
So we're seeing some mana management over there. Curious deciding which lands to keep open, being wasteland proof in his reaction. Oh, Sylvan Library now.
Yeah, so this is the
This,
one card that could get him back in the game.
yep.
Importantly here, this once again can't be pyroblasted, can't be destroyed anyway. And Querio is realizing that the hole that he's punched through is closing quickly and getting it immediately for 4 damage. Just trying to push as much pressure as possible. And I think Querios is really trying to draw for another threat here.
Okay, we found something. Immediately casting Kaya yet again.
Oh, here it is. Okay, immediately just eat cards of the yard. Just make it so that any follow-up ethereal foragers are just worthless.
What do you take? A spell and a creature to gain this life? Because of note, I think Kaya does not care if she eats 1 or 2 creatures as long as there's a single creature. So you want to spread out the exiling effects for every turn. So you have a buffed up life total now.
Yeah, and importantly here, if you don't find that's a good threat though. That's a solid threat on an open board with a plague engineer that's already been put on rogue.
Okay, of note, Cliff only taking a single card. He's hellbent. So he did not like what he saw in this top 3.
Yeah. So then we see the fatal Snapcaster fatal push again. Oh, these Snapcasts are just taking over the game. Oh man, Kaya's is going up. Kaya's going burr, getting in for 4 damage. This is lethal next turn.
This is lethal next turn.
Kaya
So
don't care.
how many cards do you think are in Cliff's exile right now? That's a nice guessing game. So I think it has to be at least 9.
Let's see.
So we had 4 for the first forager, 3 for the second one, if I'm not mistaken, because he left the spiteful dragon in the yard. So now we had at least 1 sword. I think did we flash back the swords?
Oh, there it is. There's the concession, and Querio is taking down game number 3. And wow, that was fun. That was wild. Like,
I mean, I like to see some new cards. We saw some like standard playable cards with expressive iterations, Sprite Dragons. Sprite Dragons are not new to Legacy, but I always like to see some new cards.
oh yeah, like honestly, the expressive iteration looked really good. I was very surprised by that card. But I have to give the MVP to Kaya in this matchup. Like Kaya just closes the game so fast. It's such a good threat. Like I need another Kaya. I have one. I need like 2 copies.
Like, I think Kaya sees regular play in the Absa and Maverick decks
Yeah.
nowadays, so they never leave the house without one of these.
Yeah, and
Especially,
that's the reason why I got one first of all is because I was building like an Abzan reclaimer list. Honestly, it just looks so much fun.
so let's see.
Okay, so I think that's all of our last remaining matches. So, finishing out here, Tensai goes into the top bracket semifinal.
So
Elves versus Querios. So that's going to be Elves versus 4-color control, and that's going to be a super hard matchup.
I think on the loser bracket we have in Champagne versus Charbel. I think we have Champagne moving further against Claristorics who beat Evil in the Mentor versus Ninja matchup.
So that's going to be Mentor versus Green White Depths, and that's pretty good. That's a very tight matchup. I would put this more of a Green White Maverick build versus a Mentor build, and that's a close matchup.
I mean, you have the swords, so that's something that Depths never wants to see. You have permission and like combined with a fast clock if you cannot get your combo fast enough.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. So Cliff is going to be fighting against Claro. No, that's the one we just saw. So it looks like no Frosty Champagne,
Oh
Tensai versus
yes.
Fury. Oh, so sorry, were you for about Frosty losing that matchup? So Frosty versus Champagne. So that's Burn versus Green White Reclaimer, which don't like. I don't hate that matchup. It's just Reclaimer gets to be so big so fast that it might present a pretty solid body.
Okay. So we have this figured out now. So this changes Champagne versus Burn and Cliff against Esper Mentor. Okay, those are like totally different matchups. We have to reevaluate what we just said here.
Yeah, so Claro versus Cliff is going to be huge. I think Claro having access to solid source of plowshares, hand disruption, stuff like that, that's going to be a very tough matchup. But Cliff is a Bolt deck, and Bolt kills everything in Claro's deck.
No, not a Mentor when you have a few spells on the stack.
Yeah, but that's in those like certain small niche encounters. That being said, Unearth here is a good card. When you're against Bolt based decks, that's their primary removal. Unearth is great.
Yep. So, do we have a poll which match we want to see first? Or do we just go for our winner bracket team Elves versus 4-color control?
I think we're going with Claire Storks versus Cliff next on stream, according to the poll. But we're going to take a short break while we get set up for our third round. I'm going to be taking a break as well. So you're going to have the lovely and dapper Cathor once again. And Prez is going to be joining you all for the commentary team.
Oh, I'm looking forward to press.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
Nice, nice, nice. See
And
you in a bit.
we'll see you all in just a little bit.